All right, next question. In light of Romans 1, do you believe a Christian can be a practicing homosexual or vice versa?
I think it's possible for a Christian to commit any sin except the sin of unbelief. But I do not believe that a Christian, regenerate, true Christian, can live in an unbroken pattern of sin. Otherwise, 1 John doesn't mean anything. He that is born of God does not continue in sin. And 1 John gives all those tests, right? Do you walk as Christ walked? Do you love your brother? Do you walk in obedience? Do you not love the world? If you love the world, the love of the Father is not in you. He that is born of God manifests the life of God. If you can't be regenerate and not be transformed. Okay? All right, this takes me back to the Gospel According to Jesus, the book I wrote that was such a big controversy. If I have a new life, I'm going to manifest the character of that new life. A Christian could stumble, a Christian could fall, particularly, when you realize that sin gets recycled. It talks about this in the Old Testament, that you sin in your life, and you are involved in, let's say homosexuality or adultery or fornication. It's an amazing thing how that can get recycled years later and become a temptation just by the recycling process. So people who come out of those kinds of lifestyles will struggle and can sin. But there will be a brokenness, there will be a Romans 7 attitude, "O wretched man that I am, deliver me from this." There won't be a happy-go-lucky sustaining of that kind of relationship. There won't be a defense of that sin at all. There will be a heart-wrenching desire to be delivered from that. It will be seen for what it is, a terrifying breach of one's new life. See, I believe that the purest and truest expression of a believer is holiness. I think if you're a new creation and you're new in Christ and you've been born again and the life of God is now in you, that's the purest and truest you. Just so happens that this pure, righteous, new you is incarcerated in unredeemed flesh. But now, for the first time, instead of righteousness being alien to you, sin is alien to who you really are. And you see it as an unwelcome intruder, as an invader, and there's a wretchedness involved in that. And I tell young people, they want to ask, will I ever get over temptation? I got these strong desires as I grow in the Lord. Will I ever get over this? And the answer is, yeah. Sanctification will be the decreasing frequency of sin. That's the good news. The bad news is you'll sin less and feel worse. Because as you grow, you have a heightened sense of holiness and an increased hatred of sin, and you will have a more severe hatred toward the sin that remains in you. So a believer can commit the sin, but not live in a constant state of sin and defend that sin or in any sense justify that sin.
All right, very good.